What is going on, everybody? Justin here, aka No Good Comics, and welcome back to the channel. We are on episode 78, I think, of Comic Collector Origins. And man, this has been a trip. It has been a trip. It's been a lot of fun. And if you guys are not familiar with Comic Collector Origins, it is all about the community. It's where I bring on community members to interview and ask them about how they got started in this amazing hobby, what their origin story is, if you will. So yeah, this has just been, I talk about it all the time, obviously, just meeting new folks and making legit friends throughout this this platform. So appreciate everybody who's here right now. See a couple people in the chat. If you're watching the replay, thanks for taking the time to do that as well. Make sure you smash the like button and subscribe to the channel if you are new. A couple of housekeeping items before we dive into things. I want to first remind everybody, if you missed it, me and Fire Guy Ryan, we were just live this Thursday talking about Superman for All Seasons, issue number 2. This was a blast. This series, it's a mini-series, 4-issue mini-series, and Ryan and I are trying to drag it out to really embrace each episode, or each issue, I should say. So if you haven't ever read Superman for All Seasons, I definitely recommend it, especially this is coming from a guy who was never once a DC guy, and now I'm like diving into all of it. So that book right there definitely has gotten, I think, can sell anybody on Superman if you've never given Superman a shot. The other thing I want to just let everybody know is that coming up this June 5th, we're back with another live Lego build. I'll be joined by some of the usual crew and anyone else that's really interested in diving into building some Legos live here on the channel. Really pumped for that. So that'll be June 5th. That's 2 Sundays from now. And yeah, we'll be live for, usually it goes for like 2 hours or so. I have a couple new items that I want to show off. And yeah, always a good time. So I'll be around 11 o'clock in the morning Eastern time on June 5th. Hopefully you guys can make it out for that. Other than that, I want to get into this. So of course I have my guest for today. I'm really excited for. I was just mentioning to him backstage that technically, this is not his first time on the channel, at least not his face. His beautiful face has been on this channel before, even though it technically wasn't live, although I was live. So I guess, would you call it live? I don't know if it's live, but he has been on my channel before because a while back I was doing some really fun breakdowns of new books coming out, and I was taking little 1-minute video clips from a bunch of community members, putting them up there, and they were giving their recommendation or what they liked from that week. And so he was one of them, and so I deemed that as his first time, but this is his like true first, we'll call it, as he'll be live here on the chat. So of course I am talking about Eman, C-List Eman, who's been fantastic in the community, supporter to everyone. He has his own podcast. He's all over Instagram. He's all over YouTube. He does his own show, the Eman Show, that he kicked off not too long ago. But let me bring him in right now. Eman, what's going on, brother?
What it do, Justin? Thanks for having me on the show, brother. I really appreciate it.
Heck yeah, man. Likewise. Thanks for taking some time here. I know we've been lining up our schedules, and I'm glad to make this work out.
The planets have aligned, and now
yes,
we're here together as one.
Yes, exactly. So yeah, man. Thanks for joining me here today. I'm really pumped, and diving into your origin story and everything else. For those watching right now, if you do not follow Eman, make sure you do so. I put his information in the description below. So all the goods down there, YouTube and Instagram and all that fun stuff. I know you have a podcast. We'll get into that in just a little bit as well. Before we get into all the fun, let's take a moment here and say hello to the chat. I see some people hanging out with us right now. TM Nerdy. Kicking it off. What's going on? Travis Station, my friend. He's going to watch the rewind. Appreciate you, brother. We also have Unruly Simeon in the house. Always a pleasure to see you. We got my man Michael Sove Collector. Happy Saturday indeed, my friend. Happy Saturday indeed. Let's see, PJ King in the house as well, just talking some Yankees with him earlier this week. Todd Christian as well, good to see you, man. Thanks for stopping in again. E-Man pulling double duty in the chat. I love it. See,
I sense an imposter. I don't know what that is. What's going on here?
You're like, wait a second, that's not me. Hey, we got Ryan, aka Magic Lasso, in the house with us as well. What's going on, Ryan? Thanks for stopping in. We also got my girl Inja Binja, who was just my guest last weekend. Had a blast talking with Inja as well. So Inja, great to see you as always. Let's see. We got Mercy Collectibles in the house. What's going on? Andres, all the way from Sweden, hanging out with us. It's the evening for him now, so I hope you're doing well. Let's see. I think we got everybody at the moment. So like I said, let's dive into this, man, because I've been curious. I know you're I associate you with indie comics probably the most over the course of I don't know, the year and a half ish that I feel like I've known you and really started following your channel, following your page. I know you dabble in a lot, and you're very much into a lot of the new books. And I think that's one of the main reasons why we click so well. Kind of reading up on the same, a lot of the similar books, similar writers right now, things like that. So my big question for you to kick it off is, where did this all start? Where did the passion and the love for reading comic books start for you? How old were you? What was your environment like? What did that all look like?
All right, so I was a young tyke a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. No. So like, I was definitely introduced to comics like in the '80s. I was introduced to it, right? I had my neighborhood friends when I lived in San Jose, California. They collected like the Transformers and the GI Joe comic books back then, and I was like, but I'm stuck on the TV show. Like, I can't differentiate. Like, I can't involve both worlds. Like, I can only focus on one. My brain doesn't work like that, right?
Yeah, right.
And they're like, well, in the comic book, so and so does this, and in the comic book, this Transformer does that. And I was like, oh, that's great, but I'm never gonna see it in the cartoons. So it was just all about the cartoons for me in the '80s. But then like I've always known about comics. When the '89 Batman came out, the Christopher Reeve Superman when it came out, like the '80s and the '70s, like Spider-Man TV shows. Like, I was all about those, right? I was all about the superheroes in that aspect, right? I can see them. I just felt like there was too much lore for me to just jump in to start reading Superman, Batman at any time. I was just like,
it's a lot. It's overwhelming.
It is. I just didn't want to feel like, oh, like all of a sudden I'm a Superman fan. I'm reading all his comics. I have start making shit up like with the president. I have Action Comics #1. Who does it? Why don't you? You're stupid. Because that's what you try to do when you try to impress. You try to up your other friends, right? Sure. But I was like, let's not fake the funk. I lie about a lot of stuff. Let's just like Transformers and GI Joe. That's my thing.
Yeah.
So the '90s came around, and my cousin was like, hey man, like, this guy, he introduced me to Spawn and Wildcats and all of that. And he's like, this
all
is
the
cool.
90s.
Yes. He's like, this is cool because we can start from the very beginning. And a lot of these guys came from Marvel and DC. You explained to me what Todd McFarlane did and Jim Lee and whatnot. And I was like, so like, I can jump in and like, I can start from the beginning. He's like, yeah, like, in the book's only $2.99. I'm like, sold. It's not like Action Comics, who's going to spend $10,000 at that time?
Yeah.
Grandpa, come on, it's an investment.
Make it work.
So like, for me, like, my comic book reading and my love for comics actually started with Image. It started with Todd McFarlane's Spawn, with Wildcats. It started with the whole Image thing. When they broke away from Marvel, I just loved that story. I was like, yeah.
Do your own thing. Yeah.
Do your own thing. Yes. So it was like I was reading from there. And of course, just like anyone else, there was a stint, for a couple of years where I was stuck on Spawn and I was stuck on Wetworks when it came out. Like, I was like looking forward to Will Spartaccio coming out with his book, and I waited for a long time for that because I'm like, oh my god, he's Filipino. Like, I'm half Filipino. Like, this is part me.
Yeah. I'm in this. I'm part of this.
Somehow a part of this. I don't know why. There's so much pride.
Yeah.
So it was cool because I was able to start a story from the beginning.
Sure.
I wasn't like trying to collect the #1, for spec. This is the #1. It's gonna be worth $47 million later on.
You're gonna retire.
It was. I can start from the beginning of a storyline and not feel like I'm jumping in the middle. So it started right there, and it was solely Image and some Valiant in the '90s. And of course, high school came around, girls came around, life came around, and I dropped off. Right.
Yeah.
But for years after that, I was still paying attention. Like, hey, what's going on with Spawn? Hey, what's going on with Image? Like, I was always interested in any time I found a comic book buddy. Like, hey, you're in the comics. Like, hey, so what's going on in the world? And whatnot. And they would keep me up to date. Like, oh yeah, so and so left. Now Jim Lee brought Wildstorm over to DC, and I was like, oh wait, what happened? He just left like this whole thing. So it was really confusing for me for a little while. And then around 2014, I went back into an LCS, and I was like, I want to start reading again. Turned to my girlfriend. I was like, I want to start reading again. I just don't know where to start.
Yeah.
So I walked in, looked around, walked out. I was like, one of these days I'm going to probably come in and, spend a little bit of cash. So for my birthday one year, she's like, you know what, here's $50 gift certificate. Go buy yourself some comics. Oh my God, thanks, Mom. Oh, she loves me.
It's a dream right there.
But I didn't know what to get. Like I didn't want to
Yeah.
jump into Spawn because I didn't know what the hell happened with Spawn and everyone else before that, right?
Right, right.
And so they recommended, like, you know what, pick up some trades. I
Yep.
picked up like 3 different trades at the time, and they were written by famous people like Sean Murphy and Grant Morrison. Like I was like, I know these names. Like, let me
Yeah.
like one of them was Us Three.
Mhm.
It was that
Okay.
book about the cat, dog, and rabbit that were like, they were mechanically enhanced.
Okay.
It was really interesting. And then
Yeah.
Joe the Barbarian was a Sean Murphy book, and I read that one, and I thought that book was fantastic about a little boy and his dreams. It was really, really. That sounded really creepy. Hold on, wait. Hold on, you guys.
Rewind.
That's probably the best way for me to put it. But it was a Sean Murphy book, and I was like, dude, this art is fantastic.
Yeah.
So from like 2014, I started dabbling in and whatnot. So like I want to say like for about 4 or 5 years, I was just trying to figure out what I wanted to read. Picked up a bunch of new number ones and like, all right, what stories am I going to stick with?
Just dabbling. Yeah.
It wasn't until like 2019 when I was like, okay, these are the books that I'm really liking right now. I was introduced to like Saga by a friend. I was reading
got my Saga.
there you go. Look, Lion Cat.
Some Lion Cat.
I love Lion Cat. And then, I just started reading a little bit more consistently. Like I knew what I was liking now, right? And then around early 2020, just before the pandemic started, my buddies were like, dude, do you want to start a podcast? Like, do you want to talk about comics? I was like, I want to talk.
Yeah.
Like, give me a microphone and a camera. I want to be in front of the camera and I'll talk the shit out of a microphone. Let's go, So around 2020 is when I started getting even more serious. And then my friends started introducing me to even more comics and like Boom started coming around, Something's Killing the Children and all of the books that we love now. Like, that's when I started. So like it started again, like the passion started again, and especially since I was able to get in front of a camera and in front of a microphone to talk about it. Like I can read about this and talk to you guys, and there's an audience.
Right.
Let me sit down and talk to you guys a little bit.
let me tell you.
So then that's what started it for me right there. It's just like
awesome.
it started with Image, and then we're here now.
Yeah. Wow. That is awesome. And it's, you're not the first, like in terms of kind of explaining this roller coaster of, what time you got into comics and then how you kind of fell out. Life happens, other things go on. And then you kind of stumble across it again. You mentioned you went right back into an LCS. You start exploring some of the current stuff. You recognize some writers, some creators on the wall, and rediving back in. And then to really, as you mentioned, dive in a strong way coming into 2019, 2020, I think, I've seen so many people. I got into comics at like 2018. And so to see this, like by the pandemic, 2020, like I think was like kind of a boom in a sense, since, obviously everybody's home. They're trying to figure out what they want to do. A lot of people who used to be collectors were like, oh, let me dabble in this again. And then there were new people that were just like, hey, these movies are cool. Let me, check out what these books are about. And so we got like different angles and different people coming back into the hobby, which is great. So, you're definitely not alone there in kind of this, wave of how you've gone in and out of it throughout the year. So really interesting to hear. And I guess, do you recall so you mentioned like the 90s stuff. Do you have a lot of that stuff still? Like the 90s books that you had bought back from when you were a kid, or when you were buying that stuff when it was first coming out?
I do have a long box of just like 90s Image books. So it's like I have Brigade, Bloodstrike,
yes,
Newman, Union, who else? Like, I just have like this box of just nothing but 90s books, like Team Youngblood, Strike Force, all
the classics.
The one that I never really picked up on was Eric Larson's Savage Dragon. I don't know why. I never gravitated to it, but people who do read it absolutely love
I've heard
Savage Dragon. And I'm like, that's, I'm glad. I'm just glad to hear that here in 2022, like Savage Dragon and Spawn and the books that started Image, they're still here, you know,
going strong.
And I love that idea of just like, look, people came, they left, things go up and down, but you're still going strong now, And it just feels good, just because I was like, I was there from the beginning. I was there before it was cool.
I love it. Real quick, I want to say hello to a couple people in the chat who have joined us. I saw Sheena, who had come in here earlier. What's going on, Sheena? We had my man Mark Robinson here in the chat as well. Good to see you as always, Mark. And Raging Cajun Comics also hanging out with us. JD, good to see you, my friend. Yeah. So, yeah, really cool. Diving into, as you mentioned, like a lot of indie stuff. And as you mentioned, even now, like Boom Studios just hit the ground running in the past couple of years. Aftershock's another really big one right now that I think is just constantly putting out fire. Vault Comics, all these other kind of like, off the beaten path type of publishers, which is nice to see. And they're seeing success. They're seeing, people talking about them. So I love seeing that. You still do dabble in Marvel and some DC though, right? Is some of that still stuff that you're reading right now?
Yeah, I do. I do have Marvel and I do have some DC in my pull list. Like like the Shadow War run that I'm reading right now.
Yeah.
Batman, I have like just Batman though, and
Sure.
Batman White Knight. Like I really love the Sean Murphy White Knight stuff, and it reminds me of the first comic, that got me right back into it since he was the one that did Joe the Barbarian. I'm reading Moon Knight on Marvel. I really like that. I like it because it's just street level and it's kind of thuggy, it's not too overly supernatural. It just feels like what a comic should be. Just antics, just comic book antics. That's what I'm getting out of that one right there. I'm reading some of the big two. Not a lot. Most of it is indie. But
cool.
It's I do have some of the big two for sure.
Nice. I also want to say a quick hello to Marvin Wynn in the house. What's going on, Marvin? Let's see. Sove says, when does Image become the big third?
That's that's a huge question, right? Because Image is technically, it shouldn't be indie, but it still does indie stuff because it's creator owned, right? It still allows new people to come in and create their own stuff. So it technically is independent. It's big, but it's independent still, right? It's kind of like independent. Mid-independent-ish. Independent-ish. There we go.
There you go.
Term. I pen that. Anytime anybody uses that, that's 5 cents.
There it is. Proof is right here. You caught it first. Todd Christian says he agrees the Batman books are fantastic right now. I am with you there. And also PJ King also mentioning Moon Knight's really good as well. Jed McKay, just in general, he's been doing a great job. I know he's writing Strange right now too, and I've been really enjoying some of that stuff.
He's also writing Magic
Magic Gathering.
And that's actually what got me into Jed McKay. I was like,
nice.
You know what? Let me pick up Magic the Gathering. I was like, I don't know the game too well, but you know what? It's a new adventure. Let me just try it out. I freaking fell in love with Magic the Gathering, the comic book. Yeah. Like, I don't play the game. I don't know anything about the lore. I'm just on this fantastic ride with it.
That's what I love about it, because I am big into the game, but I was telling people, I was like, I think that you can still get into this comic even if you didn't know anything about the game. And clearly, as you just meant, like you fell for it. You fell in love for it.
I am proof that you don't have to play the game to read Magic the Gathering.
Witness it right here, guys.
It's super fun. It's like, here's the thing, like with Magic the Gathering, if you like fantasy and if you like Lord of the Rings, like this is perfect. Like, forget any of the lore because it'll kind of teach you as you go along the way.
Totally.
And then because of that, that's what got me into Moon Knight. Really was because I was like, oh, Jed McKay's doing Magic. I like Magic. Maybe I'll like Moon Knight. Yeah, I'm liking Moon Knight, man. I love it.
Love it. So it's the big 2.5.
I like that. The big 2. I think I'm gonna have to pen that right there.
I dig it. Let's see. Mark has a question here. He says, if money value is important to you, you have to collect Marvel. Indie's value seems few and far between. I might have talked out my butt, but that's what I believe. Oh, he's talking about if money and value is important to you, then collecting Marvel is more value. Yeah, I mean, I guess it also depends too on why you collect or why why you're into this hobby for. So,
but it also, going off of that right there, are we talking old Marvel? Are we talking like 20 years ago Marvel? Are we talking about 45 years ago Marvel? Because if you're going to be going in collecting for investment purposes, you're going to go back into the golden, bronze, and silver age stuff, right? But then again, there's a lot of new comics, a lot of new, indies up right now that also hold value. Look at Something Is Killing the Children. Look at Invincible. Look at what else blew up. That's just like a number one that all of a sudden, just
like Sweet Tooth and some of the new stuff.
So it's like, you still can find the value in a lot of the indie comics now, but that's if that's what you're hunting for,
Right.
When I go collecting, it's a different beast, but I have a feeling that's going to be a question for later on. So
yeah, for sure. Hey, we also got my man Manny in the house. What's going on, Chamorro Cinemas? station, my friend. Yeah, so I wanted let me just move this here real quick. Wanted to ask you about a little bit about the C list and where this came from, the podcast itself. Can you give us a little background as to that? I know you mentioned kind of bringing it together in 2020, but what have you guys been up to since?
So what happened was like around 2016, 2017, like our group of friends, we got together. We just did like pretty much it's pretty much a happy hour, right? We would just all screw around, but I would try to format it in such a way that it was a podcast, that we would have a subject to talk
like
about.
Segments or something.
Segments and stuff like that. Some of the, after a while, the guys were just like, dude, I just want to kick it. It's just like, I just don't want it to feel like a show. And I'm like, okay, but I want to do a show. Like I want to do something like that, right?
Yeah.
So after a while, the podcast just kind of went off. Like we had that podcast like on iTunes and stuff like that. I figured out how to do it. I'm like, we have our own podcast, right? Just a group of friends. But there was a lot of shit in there. We're like, we better take this down. And I'm pretty sure there's a lot of stuff that we said. So let's go ahead and let's take it. So I actually ended up taking it down. My friends were like, yeah, good idea, because there's some shit on there. Like when you're amongst friends, right? You talk a lot of crap and you're like, you're yourself. But then when you put it out for the public to hear, it's like, ooh, it's like, kind of cringy.
Right.
Let's take that off. He's not really like that. I swear to God.
Right.
He's actually a very sweet individual. You really know. Don't let the podcast. So like one of our buddies in the group, he was like, hey man, like I'm thinking about starting a comic book podcast, and we're going to be talking about comic books, and it's just going to be a podcast. And I was like, yeah, hell yeah, let me get in on that. So it was like three of our friends from like that original podcast, three of our friends, and then one of our friends brought in Luke. So we're like, okay, let's go ahead and start this. And then, AJ, who's the host, he's the one that created the C-list villains. I kind of like defer to him, like, I'll help you out. I'll be producer. Let me go ahead and edit. Let me go ahead and do this. So at first it was, we would record. I would go in and edit a lot of the uhs and the ahs and the dead space and whatnot. I was like, I kind of like editing. My weird freaky mind actually likes this attention to detail job. Like, let me do the editing. So we got into the podcast. We did the actual podcast for probably about 6 months to 8 months before someone was like, dude, you guys are talking comic books. We want to see what you're talking about. Why don't you guys get a YouTube going? Right. So after research, I actually like jumping on and looking at what you did and what like Team Nerd Herd does.
Oh, nice.
And what Spine Ticks does. Like I was taking ideas left and right. Like, all right, you guys. So from what I see in the community, this is where we should go. Yeah. And then we started the YouTube channel. It's cool. So now it's technically still a podcast in a sense that we're still recording. And what we do is we put the audio onto like Spotify. We put it on iTunes. So like what we talk about on the YouTube, on the YouTube, hi.
On the internet.
Every time we talk on the YouTube, on YouTube. Well, sorry, my Filipino uncle came out. So when we talk about whatever we talk about on the show on YouTube, we actually put the audio up on Spotify and on iTunes. So it's technically a podcast. Yeah. But we're focused on more of like the YouTube show the show and tell. Sure. So that's kind of how it started. It started seriously like from a group of friends to a smaller group of friends to talking about just being nerdy and talking about comics, and that's where it started.
I love it. And then it seems like, you've really launched your own channels as well. And, I know you're doing a ton of different things. You've had creators on, you've had other community members on. I know you're doing like a top 3 right now, all this different stuff. So, love that you got a lot of stuff going on, right? It's like, it's tough to manage sometimes, I feel like, right? Like all the different shows and stuff.
It is, but that's cool in a way because like AJ, he's the host for the C-list villain. So it's kind of like whatever he wants to talk about, we'll all chime in. Right. And then I'll just be like, hey, you know what? I want an intro. Let me create an intro for our group. Yeah. You know what? I want music in the background. This is what I want to do. So this is how I contribute to our show. That's cool. Which is cool because I don't have to put too much effort into it. Yeah. But then I wanted to do my own show. I wanted to do my own channel because there's certain things and certain, I don't want to say restrictions, but there's only, certain amount of items that AJ wants to talk about with regards to the C-list villains brand. And I totally get it. Yeah. I'm like, you want to brand this show a certain way. You want the C-list brand to be a certain way. Cool. I am with you. Whatever you want. I follow you, leader. However, I want to do my own thing also. Yeah. Without those restrictions, I want to do my own thing and do this. I want to bring in people from the community. I want to do my own thing. So just like Method Man from Wu-Tang Clan, I had my own solo project. So I'll
Love it.
go off and do my solo project, but we still come back like Voltron. You know, we still
Right.
come back
Right.
together like Wu-Tang, and we still do our shows. So,
Yeah.
so that way it's like,
Great.
you know, view my channel as an extension of the C-list villains, because
Yeah,
we're still
yeah.
associated, and I still have the C-list brand name on
Totally.
my channel, but
Yep.
it's also me talking
Yep.
about what I want to talk about and do what I
Sure.
want to do, you know?
Yeah. It's nice to have a little bit of both then in that sense. And for the fans too, anybody that want to, you know, or the viewers, if they want to go more of a deeper dive and learn more about Eman, then they can do that and, you know, still be a part of the big picture here. So
Exactly.
I like it. I like it. Quick hello to Anthony, Streetside Anthony, hanging out with us today. What's going on, my friend? And I saw Rudy here earlier that I missed. So good to see you, Rudy. Thanks for hanging out with us as well. Guys, make sure you smash that like button. And again, if you're not following Eman, I put his information in the description below. So make sure you are subbed up to him. Check him out. Check out his podcast as well. So I mentioned before, I mean, we're talking comics here, right? And it's funny you mentioned, like, you know, you guys starting off your podcast and listeners are like, hey, you guys are like talking about things that we should see and, like, you know, how do we see things? I wanted to ask you, do you have a book that you want to show off here? Something that means something special to you that you could show to the people here?
Actually, I do. Thank you for asking that, Justin. So you see this piece of glare. So this thing is glared on purpose right here, because I was like, all right, this right here is something that I wanted to show off. Yep. Now a little background is that I'm an 80s child. I'm a total 80s kid. I was born in 77. I grew up in the 80s, like Transformers, violent cartoons. That was my thing.
Yeah.
You know, so like, and honestly, even to this day, like, I'm technically choosing comic books, but if I can really focus on, I would collect Transformers. That's my thing right there. Like, I really would. So this magical piece of plastic right here is a 7.0 CGC yellow label that I got signed in 2020. Literally the weekend the nation shut down.
Wow. Yikes. Yeah.
Literally the weekend the nation shut down, I got this thing right here. So let me show you guys real fast.
Yeah, let's see it.
And I've shown this thing before on my channel. I will always show this thing right here. So
yeah,
this is the one thing that I value the most. This is Transformer #1. Yes, it is graded as 7.0, but I don't care, because it tells me that this was read, signed.
Yeah.
Frank Welker, Peter Cullen, the original voices of Megatron and Optimus Prime from the cartoon.
Wow.
This right here.
That's so cool, man.
See, wow. and I like it here. This is why I like that it's a 7.0.
Yeah.
Okay. It will not tempt me to sell it or flip it. You know, when the day comes and, you know, God bless their souls, you know, we no longer have a Peter Cullen or a Frank Welker. Yes, monetarily, this will go up in value. But people, if they're going to do that, they're going to be chasing the 9.8s.
Right.
I have a 7.0 on for a reason. So that way I don't sell this. That way it is part of my memory. I got this sign, you know, in Vegas the weekend the country shut down. I was in Vegas for a toy store, or for a toy show.
Wow.
And I went there specifically to meet Peter Cullen and Frank Welker, because Optimus Prime is my Captain America, is my Spider-Man. That's my childhood hero.
Yeah.
And for me to go meet Peter Cullen, shake his hand and take a picture with him, get him to autograph some toys, get him to autograph a comic book.
So great.
It was just like, this is like the best. This is like me being 8 years old all over again, being super giddy and happy.
You'll never forget it. Yeah.
Never. And then on top of that, it was like the weekend of the pandemic, right? Like, it was just like, try not to touch anyone. Like, here's sanitizer. We think it helps. You know, don't worry about masks, but when you sneeze, cover your mouth. You know, it was like at the very, very beginning, right? And so my girlfriend was like, okay, so you're going to go to Vegas to meet your childhood hero. Don't shake his hand, because you give him Rona and you kill him.
Gosh. Oh, gosh. Now you're having all these doubts and you're just like,
no, now I was like, shit, I can't shake his hand. You're right. Like, I shake his hand, I will kill Peter Cullen. He's not young. I am dead. Like he never say I'm Optimus Prime ever again. Like after that, so I'm like, okay, let's maybe not. So
You're like, I don't want to be that guy.
so this thing right here, it isn't just a signed book, but it's a memory of a whole weekend.
So
It
cool.
was cool because I had VIP tickets and I was in this special area with like only like 20 other people, and Frank Welker and Peter Cullen were there doing like a quick Q&A, and then at the end they had this little script that they had written down. They were doing the script as Optimus and as Megatron. I was like, I can die right now because I just fulfilled a childhood dream right here.
Yeah, that is so cool, man. I love that. I absolutely love. And this is why, like, I mean, everyone I've had on, you know, they have these awesome stories, and that's just another one to kind of. It's just great to hear that this connection, and you know, not about monetary value or anything of that nature. It's just a memory and an experience that you had with a book and with a creator or creators. You know, really neat stuff to be able to meet those people in person for what they've done for that whole series is just awesome.
I had to fight back like tears and the urge to give Peter Cullen like the hugest like bear hug, like
Yeah.
oh my god. But the cool like to add to that though too.
Yeah.
It was at a casino like off the strip, like it apparently like it was the ghetto of Las Vegas, like the part of Las Vegas that
There's some bad
people
parts.
don't normally go to. Yes, there are
there's
two hotels there, but you maybe don't want to go there. You know, like it's not recommended. You know?
No.
So I went there right after the con. I stuck around in the casino, you know, gambled for a little bit, played some craps, just chilled out. You know, was talking to some of the other people there, just enjoyed, just soaked everything in. I was like, man, this is a freaking awesome day. I was on my way out to my hotel, which was like, you know, 2 blocks away pretty much. I walked right outside the door, and there they were, just waiting for their limo, just Peter Cullen and Frank Welker just right there. And I was like, I creeped up on them, and I was like, oh, please excuse me, like I don't want to scare you. And they turned around, oh hi. I was like, you know, I had a moment with both of them right there where I'm like, you know what? Thank you for everything you've done. My childhood was awesome because of you. You voiced my hero. You voiced his nemesis. Like without you two, my childhood wouldn't be as cool as it was.
Wow.
And you two were a part of it. And I was able to seriously thank them.
Yeah.
And give them. I did shake their hands eventually. I was like, like you're alive now. I didn't.
I'm doing this.
It's all right.
right.
You know, and the one thing that I regret the most is they're like, do you want to take a picture? I was like, no, you know what? I think I want to just cherish this moment without, you know, being all social media-y. So let me just say thank you and goodbye, you know, basically, because that was just the best moment right there. It was an awesome weekend, an awesome day, and an awesome con. And that was just the bestest cherry ever on top.
That's so cool.
It's the coolest thing. It was awesome.
I love that, man. I love hearing these experiences. I really do. Mark here says, I purchased that book when I was a kid, but because to me the book wasn't as good as the cartoon was first, and transforming must be live action, and cartoons, the comics wasn't as good for me. It's understandable.
Because you don't hear them transform. You don't hear
It's not the same. Yeah, not the same experience.
You don't hear them. You don't hear the voices. You know?
Exactly. He does say, yeah, nostalgia is a powerful thing. He thinks your story here is very cool. And Sheena's showing some love and dropping links. Thank you, Sheena. Appreciate that. Yeah, definitely, guys. Make sure you're subbed up to Eman if you have not already. Really cool. Yeah. So I love to hear that story or stories like that. My other question for you is, you know, you mentioned like some of this stuff is like, you know, you have that 7.0 and it kind of keeps you in check with like, you know, not wanting to like sell this, obviously, unless you 100% had to for whatever the reason would have been. What is like the big pick? Because I imagine now, especially like, you know, this past 2 years, you've been really buying a lot of books. I assume that your collection has been growing, you know, to some degree. So where do you see your collection from here, or what is like the big picture goal down the road years from now? Like, do you plan on like the books that you have and the books you continue to buy? Are these going to be books that you're going to pass down to younger generations? Are they going to be books that you sell off at some point or donate somewhere? Or are they going to be a collection that you take to the grave with you? Like where do you see yourself with the majority of these books?
Well, I'm definitely not taking them to the grave. They serve
Won't
me
do much good
zero
there, right?
purpose. Exactly. No, why is he taking that $4,000 book with him? Just leave him alone. That's his
Yeah,
last wish.
that's what he asked.
He wants his Hulk 181 with him. Just
Yeah.
leave it alone. What if I slip him the facsimile? He won't know.
You'll never know.
You will be haunted for life, child. No.
Sounds like a great premise, by the way. That could be a story, a comic book story in itself, right there. Can we write that, Eman? Let's do that.
I like where this is going. I like that. Honestly, I really do most of my collecting. Like, and I mentioned this before, like 80-20, it's 80%. I really buy to read. I really buy to enjoy the stories. I really buy to really dive into something that I want to dive into. Just get into a new adventure, right?
Sure.
You're slipping away into a new adventure.
Yeah.
8 minutes a comic book, in an hour you can get by, anywhere from 8 to 10 comics and just be on different adventures. And I like that, right?
Yeah.
Do I buy for spec? Very rarely. 20% I buy for spec. Once in a while, I'll walk into an LCS. And I even see my LCS too. It's not like one of the bigger LCSs here in the Bay. Like I have one LCS that has their own exclusives come out. I have one that's been around since the 1960s. I have like another one that's like super popular. But I go to like my LCS is very, very mom and pop-ish compared to everyone else.
Yeah.
And they're not going to have all of the variants all the time. They're not going to have all the 1 in 25s all the time, the 1 in 100s. Right. It's not that kind of store.
Yeah.
But once in a while, when they do get something like that, and I'm like, you know what, this could be worth something. Like I bought the Berserker 1 in 500 from them. That wasn't smart, but I was like, well, why not? Let's see what happens. There's a TV show that's coming. So if the TV show blows up, then yeah, that one's gonna be flipped for sure. That's a definite. I collect a lot of John Jang, Aaron Bartling variants just because like they are friends of the show. I want to show support to them. Yeah. And honestly, they have just amazing stuff.
Amazing artwork, yeah.
Lip Wei Chang is a new guy that I've been introduced to. I had him on my show, and his work is phenomenal too. So a lot of the comics that I'm picking up also is I just want to throw up on my wall, and it'll be it'll be nice and chill.
Yeah, something to show off.
I'm on lunch. My girlfriend's looking at me like, you're supposed to be working right now. What are you doing? I'm on lunch.
Love it.
My boss knows I'm on lunch. But I'll have I'll collect some. I have like a box of variants.
Yeah.
And it is a just in case. Let's see what happens.
Sure.
I have a couple of like Abbott 1973s.
Okay.
And that book, that's actually a very underrated book. I really suggest people read Abbott and Abbott 1973. It's a fantastic story. Like I'm surprised no one talked about them. But I have a lot of the one per stores, a lot of the ratio variants for that. So I'm like, this book is something's going to happen. Something's going to happen with this book because it's awesome. And okay, let's spec on it. Let's chill for a little bit. But I can't go off and buy, like spending more than $100 on a book is something that I just can't do. I got kids.
Sure.
I got kids.
Got kids, got bills. Yeah.
And apparently the law, stupid law, tells me I have to feed my kids.
Fine. I guess.
So instead of spending $100 on comics, I have to buy them like peas and carrots, socks. One of them asked for underwear. I'm like, I don't understand why you're asking. But but my collecting is really to enjoy the stories. Some spec. I might flip some like on the way to my end. Yeah. But I'm definitely passing some of them down to my kids for sure.
That's cool.
I had like a little sports card collection, and my son, my middle-aged son, he's more into sports out of all of my kids. So I gave him that box. I was like, I don't know if any of these are going to be worth. I found like $400-$500 cards in there. Like if they were encased, it would be worth like a pretty penny. I'm like, here, do something with this. This is yours. So he got the cards. My daughter, like I collect figures for her. Her name is Eris from Final Fantasy VII.
Oh yeah, I know. Yep, that's awesome.
So
very cool.
I bought her an Aerith.
I used to love that game.
I bought her an Aerith. So like we both have one. So like my toy collection is mostly going to go to her.
Nice.
And then my comic book collection keeps growing. So my oldest one is probably going to get most of them. Probably going to hand some down to my stepkids, to my girlfriend's kids.
Yeah.
But like I'll find a way to split them up. Like eventually I'm gonna find a way to split them up. I'm not gonna sell everything, but if I have
Yeah.
like two of one, like not gonna lie, not gonna lie. There was, if I could sell, I'll sell books. I'll flip some books. Not
Yeah.
like hardcore like a lot of people would. But I'm not gonna lie. Like last year, I sold enough books to buy my girlfriend and I airplane tickets to Hawaii. Like it works out for us. Like it worked out perfectly for us.
That's awesome. Yeah.
So I bought her. Like for her birthday, I bought her like a gift certificate for like Southwest Airlines, and I was like, "Next Hawaii trip's on me." And
That's awesome.
Yeah. So
that's
like,
an awesome gift. Yeah,
it worked out. I was like, "Yes, nothing came out of my pocket." Like technically, I only spent $4.99 on this one. Right?
It's gotta feel good. It's gotta feel good. Yeah.
So like I'll
cool.
If the book is worth a pretty penny and I can do something with the family, I just okay. So Red just went to MegaCon, and he took my Miko Suayan.
Oh yeah.
Agents of Atlas Wave variant Virgin.
Oh yeah. Okay. Great book. Great cover.
He took that to MegaCon for me.
Mm-hmm.
Signed, slabbed, pressed. It's at CGC right now.
Yeah.
And I have two of those. If they both come in at good, I'm gonna sell one of them, and I'll probably use that for our Philippine trip coming up next year.
And you'll still be able to keep
something like that. Yeah, and I'll be able to keep the other one.
That's nice.
So I will sell, but it's not going to go right back into the collecting. It's going to go like to the family. We're going to be doing stuff with it.
Experiences and family stuff. So no, that makes sense. A few people jumped in here. I want to say a quick hello. We got Circumstances in the house. What's going on, brother? Always a pleasure to see you. We also have Southpaw Brad in the house. What's going on, Brad? Thanks for stopping in. Couple of good comments here too. Sheena said Abbott is so good. Absolutely agree.
Yes.
Mark said underwear is for punks. There you go.
See, that's what I tell the kids. Be a punk. Go commando.
Sheena said you got to feed them. Interesting. Yeah. Apparently it's a law. Maybe certain states.
Like who would thunk it? Really?
Yeah.
Can't they survive on cereal? Isn't that like?
We got Aggressively Relaxing in the house. What's going on, my friend? Noggin Comics is here as well. Thanks for stopping in. Some really good stuff. Great points. Great points all around. Obviously, like you mentioned, like it's not like this is something where you're turning it into a business or things like that. But if you see an opportunity, maybe it's one that you take if it's going to open up opportunities for you to do more cool stuff with your family, which I totally get that. And as you mentioned, if you have doubles, especially, like heck yeah, you're able to at least keep the ones that you want, things that mean something to you, like the book you showed off there. So very cool. I have one more question for you before we get into the rapid fire stuff. Before I do that, I just want to thank everybody who's hanging out with us right now. We got 14 people here. And of course, people watching the replay, thank you as well for taking the time to do so. Make sure if you're not subbed up to Eman, do that. I put his information in the description below. Sheena's been dropping the link, so check it out there. So my question, before we get into the other stuff, is when it comes to this hobby, we talked about, especially as you shared your journey, getting back into things, depending what it is, this hobby can come off a little intimidating. It can come off a little, there's a lot of different books. There's a lot of different information out there, a lot of different creators that are out there, a lot of collectors out there who have massive collections. And so when it comes to somebody new to this hobby, when it comes to somebody who's just considering getting into this for the first time, just considering reading a comic book for the first time, or collecting, or going to an LCS or a Comic-Con for the first time, what is one piece of advice that comes to mind for you that you would give to that person, somebody pretty much brand new to getting into this hobby?
There's a lot of things. There really is a lot of things that I can say. One, seriously, just step into an LCS. Step into an LCS and just talk to them. A lot of the owners, a lot of the people that work in an LCS, they are super knowledgeable. They're there. They've definitely, let's be honest, they want your business. So they're going to be telling you, like, all right, well, they're going to scope you out. What do you like? What are you interested in reading? Mm-hmm. So talk to the people at the LCS. Let them know what you're interested in. If you're saying, like, what, I like the MCU and I want to know more about, Iron Man.
Sure.
Boom. Definitely one of the better places to start too is get a trade. Pick up a trade. Pick up a volume number 1 trade of anything that catches your eye.
Just give it a shot.
You know
Yep.
Batman, you know Superman, you know Wonder Woman, you know Iron Man, you know Captain Marvel because of the MCU. Just step in and pick up a trade, a volume one, a trade of any comic book that seems interesting to you.
Mhm.
Pick it up because it's technically 5 to 6 comics in one. So that's a good way to at least get an idea of who some of these superheroes are or these new adventures are.
Yeah.
Something is killing the children. Go pick that up. People are talking about that. Well, why? It's because of, this and that, but it's best if you read it. So go step into an LCS.
Yep.
Talk to them because they're super friendly. Every single LCS that I've been in, they're super friendly. They definitely want to be able to
Just help you.
Yeah. And two, to pick up a trade. Pick up it number one because that's a good way to start from a beginning. It might not be the beginning. It might be volume 3, but you're starting from a good starting point whenever you do something like that.
Totally, absolutely. And that's a great point. Because again, like you were mentioning before, even if you are trying to attempt to get into certain big two stuff, Marvel, DC, there's thousands and thousands of stories, and it's like impossible to just know and recall all that stuff. So it that in that sense it can come off really intimidating. But yeah, a volume one of anything, you're pretty much in the clear regardless. I mean, even if you did a Batman volume one of a volume 4 or whatever, or series 4 or whatever, you still are not gonna, the writers are gonna take care of you in the sense of that, like they get it too. They want to be able to have new readers come in and understand their work and things like that. So they're going to have a good balance of that. Sheena here said, Eman, ask Justin about hoopla. Yeah, tell me about it. It's a fruit, right? Hoopla is, I think I heard it's like a fruit of some sort that you can eat. Yeah, thanks, Sheena. I know Sheena's been trying to tell me about hoopla for a while now. I think it's a really tasty piece of fruit of some sort. But anyways, yeah, there's also things like libraries and stuff that you could check out stuff as well.
Online, but Comixology, pay for it. You do it legally, everyone. Come on now. We're just trying to support. Do it legally, all right? Comixology. Online.
Love it. I love it. Nugget says great advice. Yep, absolutely.
Thank you.
Let's see. Mark said, man, I support 3 LCSs. That's like having 3 baby mamas. Expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you're trying to support 3 different LCSs, that can definitely
I support one for sure, but then there's like 5 other LCSs that I might step into and just be like, okay, you know what? Like my LCS didn't have it. I know you'll have it,
Right.
Or
right.
like they'll have like their exclusive. Like I have this one local shop. It's a little bit, a little further out from my LCS, and they're about to drop a James Tynion the Closet #1 variant.
Oh yeah,
that right. Only their shop is gonna get. And like you can't even go online. It's like one of those things like you have to hit them up like on Instagram or walk into the shop. So
right.
Like I will do something like that. If you're a huge, like BTC, Yellow Snow, it's easy. You can go online, but like when you have to put in a little bit of legwork, it's kind of worth it. So that I like doing that.
Yeah, Circum here says I got 1 main squeeze LCS and a couple of side chick LCSs. It's a good way to put it right there.
You know what?
Booty calls when I got extra money. There you go. All right, let's get into some of the rapid fire stuff because I know we're coming up on the hour here, and this has been a lot of fun, man. I really appreciate you jumping on board, and there's still more fun to come here. So curious to see how you handle some of these questions, these rapid fires.
Rapid fire questions
coming at you. So let's kick it off here with some comic book related stuff, and then I'll switch gears. But the first one I want to ask you is, if you had to just pick one, we're going to make this a rule, only one. If you had to choose, who is your favorite comic book character of all time?
Optimus Prime. I have to say that. He's in the comic book. Optimus
Yeah,
Prime. That's absolutely. Like the easy way out for me.
No, absolutely. No, you're spot on, man. Absolutely. 100%. What about villains? Do you have a favorite villain that comes to mind?
Joker. It has to be the Joker.
Nice.
Just so many different iterations of him.
Love
you
it.
can take it in so many different ways. So psychological.
Yep, absolutely. What about your favorite current comic book artist? If you had to name one.
I hate you for this one right here.
They might get a little harder.
You know what? Like, Like, as awesome as Jorge Jimenez is with his Batman run, I
Oh, love him.
absolutely love Daniele Di Nicuolo with his Seven Secrets run. So art wise, Daniele
Okay.
Di Nicuolo.
Oh,
I'm gonna have to
okay.
say
All
that.
right. Love it. Love it. Love it. Let's see. Do you recall the most recent comic book you just read?
Saga 50 something.
Oh, nice. Yes, yeah, yeah. 50
Saga
something.
number 50 was 50.
Yeah. You just mumble around. I was like, oh, okay, yeah. Love it. Love it. Love it. Let's see. What is your favorite comic book related movie of all time?
It'll make me think about this one. Hold on. Favorite comic book related movie. You know what? I'm gonna have to say The Dark Knight.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
have to say The Dark
Heath
Knight.
Ledger, yeah.
Yes.
Love it. Good one. Good one. Hey, Rudy has a question here. I like this. I'm going to throw this at you here. Question for the panel. What is your weekly average investment in the hobby?
Oh, my girlfriend might be watching this. So I'm going to say $20.
Right. There you go. That's good. We can totally keep it at that.
$20. Let's say that. Yeah.
I'll just
get like a few bucks.
I'll just put the number 3 out there. Take it for what you will.
on some weeks there might be a 3 in there somewhere.
So says 40 to 200 is my typical weekly spend. That's a good range.
Remember, I got kids. I need to feed them peas and
carrots.
Right,
yes, so. By law, yes. Let's see. If you could have one superpower, what would that superpower be?
I would, between strength and flying, I would probably say flight.
Okay, all right.
I would, yeah. Sometimes these answers are going to be pretty basic.
No, I love it. Very chill. Yeah. We always highlight this answer here because it's flight. It's actually probably going at about 50% of what my guests have said out of everything else.
It just makes it easier.
You don't stand alone here. No, totally. Yeah. I love it. No, that's the thought you should be putting. I love it. Like, and especially with gas prices right now, forget it. Like, I totally get it, man. Just make life convenient.
The next superpower I'd want is like a faster metabolism because I'm kind of chunky right now, so like I want to be able to eat a lot without like gaining too much weight. That's another superpower I want right there. Fast metabolism.
I like that. That's legit, man. All right, couple of this or that's here, and I apologize in advance. I'm gonna go with Boom Studios or Aftershock.
You suck. Oh shit. You know what? I'm gonna have to say Aftershock.
All right. Pizza or cake?
Pizza.
Yes, correct answer. Marvel or DC?
Marvel.
All right. Batman or Daredevil?
Batman.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, Batman.
But by the way, anybody watching this right now, like, look at this rapidness that we have going on. This is going great. You're the first, I have to say, Eman. Jenny Frizen or Jen Bartel?
Frizen.
All right. Quick one there. James Tynan or Ram V?
Tynan.
Okay. All right. Battle of the Toms here. Tom Taylor or Tom King?
Taylor, because he's doing
he's
my Seven
boy.
Secrets. Yeah,
he's
Seven
my boy.
Secrets. And everyone loves his Nightwing run.
I love his Nightwing run. Yeah, man. Would you prefer a day at the beach or a day at a Comic-Con?
Beach. I'm sorry.
Ooh,
beach.
Okay.
Like I know that's like how dare you get them off.
Yo, subscribers going down now.
That's it. really I'm sorry. Like Hawaii is like my place to be. Like anytime I get a chance to go to Hawaii or to some kind of beautiful beach, I will take that for sure. See, you go to San Diego Comic-Con, I can go to the beach afterwards because there's a beautiful beach down there. Hey, see?
There you go.
It works.
Let's see. Rudy here said, question 2, if you could have one DC character cross into the MCU, who would it be and why? I like that question. It's a good question.
You know what? I'd like to see what's his name? Zach Levi's Shazam in the MCU.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Just for the shenanigans that could happen after that, right? Like I would like to see him kind of associate with like Deadpool. Yeah. I think that would just be a funny mix up of just personalities.
Yeah.
So like, is it Zachary Levi?
It sounds right. I'm picturing the name.
The movie version of Shazam. I would like to see that one in the MCU. That'd be fun.
I could see that. That's cool. Let's see. Harley Quinn or Poison Ivy?
I like the crazy ones. I'm gonna have to go with Harley.
Yes, I'm with you
Like
there.
Harley.
He says, "I like the
Margot
crazy
Robbie
one."
does a thing for that Harley.
She's great. She really is
Oh,
great. Doctor Doom or Magneto?
Magneto.
Ooh, all right. Mutant fan here. Let's see. Scrolling through a couple others here. I forgot I had this one here. Do you have a favorite if you had to choose a favorite Fantastic Four member?
Don't have one really, but I do like Reed Richards just because he's the leader and he's a smart guy and he just stretches. Like if my kids act up and they're on the other side of the room, just stretch over and just, shut up.
Love it.
Give me that phone.
Whack. Yeah.
Oh, you want to be smart? You gotta give me that phone.
All right, one more tough one here. Pepsi or Coca-Cola?
Coke, because it tastes better with rum.
There it is. There it is. I mean, that's fair.
And
That's
Crown
fair.
and any other alcoholic beverage out there that can mix in with sodas.
I'll take it. I'll take it. Soph says Ghost Rider or Lobo?
Ooh. I'm probably gonna go with Lobo.
Okay.
He's nuts, dude. That guy's got problems. I kind of want it's more along the lines of I would rather have a beer at a local bar with Lobo than I would with Ghost Rider. Just because I think Ghost Rider would he would heat up like all the beer, like it'll be warm beer by the time he drinks it. It's gross. It doesn't taste good. It's nasty. Warm beer.
I love it. All right, let's see. We're going to shift gears here a little bit. Some non-comic book related stuff. I already asked you about your favorite comic book movie of all time, but now I'm just going to ask you, what is your favorite movie of all time? If you had to just pick one, what comes to mind right off the bat?
Return of the Jedi.
Ooh, all right.
And it has to be Return of the Jedi because that was like the very first movie that I saw in the movie theaters with my mom growing up. So I watched Star Wars backwards. Like I watched Jedi and then I watched Empire and then I watched Star Wars as a kid. I'm like, that's why that's so okay. So
that's so weird.
It sucks because like the whole part of Vader revealing that he was Luke's dad in Empire, it didn't hit me. Like it probably hit. How can it be a spoiler? By now, if you don't know, what are you doing in this nerd world? Like if you're watching this and you didn't know that Vader was Luke's dad, what are you doing? Go watch a movie.
Like, I know that Eman guy. Yeah, he ruined the Star Wars stuff for me.
I don't like that guy anymore. He ruined it for me. Stupid. Gago.
I love these accents.
No. But yeah, it went backwards. So when Vader revealed that he was Luke's dad, I was like, I kind of already knew. Oh man, that sucks.
So funny.
But I also recognize that Empire is the best Star Wars movie, and then Rogue One are the best Star Wars movies. Yep,
it's a great one too. Very cool, very cool. By the way, did you watch the new Obi-Wan?
Not yet.
Okay,
I'm actually gonna the kids aren't here this weekend, so I was planning on watching that tomorrow night with the kids.
Nice, very nice. I just watched it.
Before we review it on the C-List Villains podcast live every week.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
Shameless plug.
No, I love it. Plug away. Let's talk about sports here because I gotta highlight. I know you got the T-shirt on and all this stuff, the Niners, and I don't know if you know, but I am a diehard Baltimore Ravens fan, and so I know that we have had some good times in Super Bowls back in the day. But anyways, tell us a little bit about your fandom of sports in general. What are your favorite sports? Who are your favorite teams? Let's hear it.
So 49ers is my absolute number one sports team. I grew up on the Niners in the 80s. I was, I watched, the 84 Super Bowl against Miami. I watched, against Cincinnati. I watched against Denver, and I watched it against, San Diego. So, like, I was there to see them win 4 championships in my childhood. So that changes somebody, right? Once you see, a local team just being champions over and over and over again in the 80s, it's like, boom, like, that's my team right there. So I grew up a Niner fan. My whole family was a Niner fan. To this day, I'm still a Niner fan. My kids know I'm a Niner fan. So it's Niners all the way. Joe Montana and Jerry Rice, honestly, 2 of the greatest football players of all time was on my favorite team. So it's like, it's kind of hard to veer away from that, and then you being A Ravens fan. However, those Harbaugh years with the Niners were some of the most entertaining years. Like even
I
if you're
mean, yeah,
even if you were like, look, if you're a football fan, right? American football, because I know that
yeah,
people would be like, oh, soccer and
yeah.
or real football, football. Quite the way. No, but like if you were a football fan, like between like 2011, 2014,
Yeah.
you know, the Niners, if anything, were a very entertaining team to watch, especially because, you know, Jim Harbaugh stupidly animated.
Mm.
You know,
Yeah, yes,
he yells at everything. He yells so hard his headgear falls off, and it's just the antics behind him. And then you had the cooler, calmer John Harbaugh, who's just on the sidelines, just
arms crossed.
come on, Flacco, do something. Oh man.
Rudy says Batman and Robin, Montana and Rice. Yeah.
Yeah. No. I can't make that comparison because no. Yes, Chiefs. Yes, and we lost to the Chiefs too. But that was a good Super Bowl. That was.
He's given some reminders here.
I will say that KC, like, we weren't even supposed to be there, and we still made it. And then going up against KC, we're like, all right, let's see how good our defense is. And they figured out, how our defense is. So,
right.
You know, I have zero hate for KC because they're a fantastic team. They
very
really
entertaining.
are.
Yep.
Yes.
Curious to see what Mahomes continues to do. So very cool. So obviously very much a football fan. Any other sports that you follow?
Warriors.
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay.
They're in the championship right now, and then the San Francisco Giants. You know, the Bay Area teams. I'm embedded in the Bay Area, and it's all about the Bay Area for me. And now I'm not gonna be over here like, hey man, Bay, it's all about the Bay. What's up? You know, like, I'm not gonna be like all thuggy and gangster about it. You know, oh, what's that you repping? Seminary in 65th. What? You know, like, I'm not gonna do that. But Bay Area is home. We have everything here in the Bay: sports, food, culture, tech. We have so much here in the Bay. It's just hard not to love what you have here. And everything is at arm's length away from me. I grew up watching both A's and Giants. Now, to a lot of people here in the Bay Area, it's sacrilege to like both teams. But I literally watch both of the teams, and I root for both A's and Giants.
Yeah, wow.
You know, there was a crosstown rivalry between the Niners and the Raiders. I was more of a Niner fan. Forget all you Raider fans, you know. Warriors are right here, and look what happened over the last 10 years with the Warriors. They were winning championships. We have Steph Curry, so it's like, just like other metropolitan areas, we have greatness here. And what's cool about it too is that there's a certain sense of pride revolved around that, and it's hard not to be embedded in something so joyful as, you know, being, you know, winning championships.
Sure.
You know, I follow the Sharks. It sucks because, like, it's like they're like the almost their team. Like, they'll make it. It's like, oh, wait, see you again next year, kid. You know,
good try.
Sport.
Yeah.
You'll get them next time, Tiger. You know, they're that team. You know, but being in the Bay, being in a number 4 market in the United States, being in an area, you know, full of, you know, 8 million people with so many different personalities, I love it here because I can walk outside and eat Salvadorian food. I can go down the street, have Mexican food, or go up the street, have Chinese food. If I want to have like high-end sushi, I can go to San Francisco. If I want good barbecue, go to Oakland. And want some Vietnamese food, go down to San Jose. It's just being here in the Bay Area. I have so much at arm's length that it's hard not to like what I have.
Sure.
We have 120 breweries here in the Bay Area. It's just like, you know, it's everywhere. So sports-wise, I'm very much down with the Bay Area. I love my area, and that's who I am. That's how I grew up.
I love it.
And I'm very prideful about it. Now, I'm not going to say New Jersey and New York and Kansas City, forget those places. No, because every city, no matter where you go in the United States, every city has something amazing about it.
Yeah.
Barbecue in Kansas City, you know, Cubanos in Miami, you know, barbecue down in Texas. I associate everything with food, and everywhere you go, you're going to just try something completely different. And that's just how I see things. Like, we have so many things here. It's just it's hard not to love what I have.
Well, I am definitely hitting you up then the next time I'm out in that area. And if I want some good food, I'm going to be picking your brain a bit.
I got you, man. Man.
Let's talk about music here for a little bit. Do you have a specific favorite genre, and do you have any specific favorite artist and or band that comes to mind that you'd want to mention here?
This is another can of worms you're opening up here, Justin.
Let's hear it, man.
All
Let's hear
right.
it.
So, I have a whole playlist dedicated to 80s music. So I have
Nice.
like theme songs from like 80s TV shows and sitcoms, like Knight Rider and Who's the Boss and the Golden Girls, right? I have a playlist, and then it'll be Journey, and then it'll have like some Stevie B in there and some, and some George.
It's a mosh of all the genres.
That's just one playlist.
Yeah,
but like
great.
I also have like my metal playlist, and it's mostly Slipknot, Linkin Park, Metallica, grunge stuff. So like I have like a rock metal playlist, and then yet I have like my EDM playlist. Like if I want to dance around, I have like a whole EDM playlist.
Nice. Love it.
I have Tiesto, I have Above and Beyond, I have
some good energy there.
Hardwell, Dyro, Danik. Like I just love EDM, and then. Turning it back around, I'm a 90s kid. I love my 90s hip hop. I have a whole playlist dedicated to just like East Coast hip hop. So I have East Side Flatbush Projects on one. I have Big Pun, Fat Joe, Wu-Tang Clan. Like that was the group right there for me growing up. Yeah. And then there was a lot of Bay Area hip hop artists, like Living Legends, Hieroglyphics. They're embedded in there. So it's like 90s hip hop, EDM, metal, and just terrible cheesy 80s music. It's just all over the place with my music, and it's just whatever I feel. Whatever I feel like that. You know what? I want to listen to some George Michael. I want some Careless Whisper while
there you go. Today, while I do dishes.
Like my friends and I, like Red and AJ and I, we've been friends since like high school.
Yeah.
Right. And then every year we used to hold a kickball event. Wherever we're at, whether it's NorCal or Northern California or Southern California. I can't say NorCal, SoCal. People probably don't understand that term. But we would hold a yearly kickball event.
That's cool.
And afterwards, we would just bust out in karaoke. Now, we're not just doing regular karaoke. This is terrible. We would have one mic, but there's literally like 10 guys in the background singing Jodeci. Ooh, yeah. Just oh, God, it's so horrible. We're just there. It's not like we're serenading to like ourselves. It's just our thing to do karaoke to like 90s R&B and 80s like Bon Jovi and Journey. And so music is a big part of who I am, how I grew up, and how even our friend group is. Because music brings everything together.
Yeah,
plus I'm Filipino, so karaoke is a thing.
Yeah, man. Dude, I love that, and I mean, you make a great point. Music obviously is very much mood focused. Depending on what you're into at that moment or what's going on in your life, can things click better at certain times based on what you're going through. So, I think it's good that you have this big outreach to everything really, and have all these lists like ready to go, which is always sweet. I have something similar too with certain eras of times and things like that. Always nice to be able to dabble into. So great stuff there. Love it. Wanted to ask you if you could go anywhere in the world vacation wise that you've never been to before, that you could take your family with you for an entire week free, no COVID or anything like that, just safe place to travel to, where would you like to travel to that you've never been?
Another subject you're opening up here. Like I can go on about this one right here. So I'm very fortunate to be able to take my kids. I've been able to take my kids to Hawaii. Like that's my absolute favorite place in the world right now. Now it's not going to be like that forever because I know there's other many beautiful places to see. Sure. I'm about to take my daughter and my stepkids, my girlfriend. We're about to go to Mexico this summer, so I'm going to take them to another beautiful spot. My mom's from Mexico, so it's like it feels good being able to tell my kids like, hey, look. This is where grandma's from, this is the history behind Mexico, cool. But now it's like a couple of places I want to go to and take the kids is, number one, I want to take them to the Philippines. Like I've been to Manila, but I want to take them to Palawan. I want to take them to this huge, beautiful island in the El Nido area of the Philippines. Like that area is just absolutely gorgeous, right? And it's not cheap to get there, but once you're there, it's really cheap to do that. So Palawan, El Nido, Philippines, that's one spot. I want to take a Caribbean cruise because and it's not about the cruise, it's about being able to stop at the different islands and taking a look at the culture, because even though like the Caribbean may seem like one culture, it's not, because you have different countries that have major influences, like England, US, Venezuela, Netherlands, like the Caribbean. Even though it you can go anywhere and you think it's a Caribbean island, every island has a completely different personality.
Yeah.
So I want to do that, and then I want to do a Mediterranean cruise. I want to take a look at Spain. I want to take a look at Italy. I want to be able to be in the Mediterranean. I want to party in Ibiza. Like I'm still that
Love
old,
it.
but I want to party in Ibiza because
That's cool.
I'm still a raver at heart. Like I should stop.
I love it.
I'm too old for this. I shouldn't be doing that.
Nah, man, no.
But yeah, those are actually the
That's
three.
cool.
Caribbean cruise, Mediterranean cruise, and then Palawan, Philippines.
Nice. Very nice. Couple things here in the chat. Rudy said, any country music for your playlist there? Are you a country fan?
I'm not a country fan. My girlfriend's a country fan, and
Okay.
there's that kind of brings into it. She did introduce me to this island reggae song. I forgot what it was called. I know it when I hear it, but it's a island reggae version of a country song that she really, really likes.
Oh, cool.
But
Okay.
country wise, no, that's not my thing. Sorry.
Not your thing. Okay, that's fair. That's fair. Mark had said, I can't believe Eman brought up Jodeci. Please tell me that you've seen the YouTube video of the Mouse Club singing Jodeci's song. Ryan Gosling was one of the singers. Hilarious. I've not seen that.
Mark, I expect you to send me that link on my Instagram because I need to see this. I need this a part of my life now. And then I want to see if my friends can do that video even better than they did. So I'm gonna have Red be like, "Hey, how can we do this better?"
That's great. Okay, so wrapping it up here. I always like, I know you were mentioning food before, and it's something I always like to kind of close the show out with. So if you had the choice of any meal that you like, your go-to on a regular, like a Saturday night with the family or whatever, whether it's going out to eat or ordering in, or maybe you're staying home and cooking, what is that go-to meal for you?
Okay, if I'm cooking and it's going to be a go-to meal, it's more than likely just me being lazy and simple. It'd probably just be like some kind of spaghetti, only because it's easy to make.
Is it easy? Yeah.
But if I had like a one go-to meal, see, I can be super Mexican and just be like, tacos.
Yeah.
Or I could be super Filipino and be like adobo and sinigang. But the one thing that really comes and stands out in my head is I mentioned that I've been to Hawaii, and I just love the Polynesian culture. And we have this Samoan Tongan restaurant like about 20 minutes away from the house.
Oh, wow.
And they just have like, it's a hot plate of just Tongan and Samoan, like a home cooked meal. You go in there, you just ask for rice, turkey tail, and it's just a plate of just deliciousness, man. It's just,
sounds good.
I just think about it. I'm just salivating now. I'm like, I want some of this. So I'm probably gonna have to say Catalina Island is the name of the restaurant. And I would go in there and get myself like a turkey tail, lau, sweet potato, white rice, and like curry chicken. Like that's like the ultimate meal because it's wholesome. It's good. And there's nothing like that around here.
Nice.
There's nothing like, we have L and L and O-Nels. We have all this other, Hawaiian food, but it's like basic. Like you're gonna get the chicken katsu and the spare ribs, and you're like, no.
Right.
I want like real home cooked island food, and that's the spot right there that I can think of. It's just wholesome and delicious.
That's cool, man, and convenient. Only like 20 minutes away. Like you said, you're in arm's reach basically of like all styles of food, which is amazing and dangerous, probably all at the same time.
So I work for a tech company, and I get 2 free meals from them a week through DoorDash.
Oh, nice.
I'm constantly trying new things. Like,
heck yeah, that's a great idea.
If I get like Chinese food, like I would get something like completely out of the norm for me. Like I wouldn't get like what normally would get. So like I'm constantly trying new foods, and finding new places. So
yeah. That's awesome, man. Well, like I said, you're at the top of the list. If I'm in that area, I am hitting up to say where, I'm in the mood for this. Where do I go?
I will tell you exactly where to go, and if I can't tell you, I will find it. Anyone coming to the Bay Area, anybody out there, anyone watching the Rewind, it's not just about comics with me. It's all about Bay Area culture for me. And if you guys ever want to know where to go, where to eat, where to have a good time, where to find this, hit me up. Just hey, Eman, I saw your interview with Justin. Like, where can I find this? I am an open book. Like, I would be more than happy to just be like a straight up tour guide to let you guys know exactly where to go.
That's awesome. I love it. Quick hello to Azor's Tiger. Eric hanging out with us. Good to see you, man. We're just getting ready to kind of wrap up here, but I want to thank you, Eman, for joining me here today. This has been so much fun, as I knew it would be, and I appreciate you. We're going to have to, I know we've been in the works here a little. We're definitely going to collaborate again at some point for sure. But before we do go, let the people know where they can find you, and if you have anything coming up here that you'd like to highlight and let them know about.
Yeah, no problem. You guys can go ahead and find me on my YouTube channel, C-List Eman. Right there, I have my playlist for creators mail call, where I've actually done mail calls with creators of certain covers like John Jang, Lipway Chang, Aaron Bartling. I'm on live with the C-List of villains every Monday and Thursday at 8 p.m. Pacific 8 p.m. Pacific time. You can find us on our YouTube channel, the C-List of Villains podcast. You can also find the podcast itself on iTunes, Spotify, or your favorite podcast app. Now remember, the C-List Villains, cultivators of the comic culture.
Boom, boom. Very nice. Nicely said. Nicely said. Again, everybody in the chat, thank you all for hanging. Eman, dude, again, this was great, man. Really appreciate you being on board here with this. We'll do some more at some point for sure. Other than that, I'm not going to be back here next Saturday, the 4th, for Origins. My next Origins will be the following Saturday. I'm going to take off next week, but we will be, as I mentioned at the beginning of the stream, doing a live Lego build on that Sunday, June 5th. So hopefully people can come hang out with us as we goof around and do some Lego building.
Speaking about that Lego build, I love that the picture that you had for the Lego build.
Oh, the graphic, yeah.
The graphic that because you just have this look, and I'm like, that's the look that I would have if I dropped like the Millennium Falcon, or if I dropped like the Death Star, like what Ned did in Spider-Man, like that. You know, like that.
Completely
Jackie Chan, what are you doing? Look?
Yeah.
That is my look. Like if I had just dropped like because that's what I want. I want a Millennium Falcon. I want an X-wing. I want a TIE fighter, and that's the look that would happen. That's the look I would give if it fell and broke and I was like halfway through.
Oh God, yeah, that'd be a nightmare. Well, the good news is they make all those things, so you could technically go get all of them, but they're very expensive, some of them. But anyways, yeah, so hopefully see you guys on Sunday there for that next Sunday, the June 5th. Otherwise, I hope you all have a great rest of the week. I'll still be dropping videos throughout the week as usual. And other than that, be safe. Enjoy the long weekend. Hopefully, if you have a long weekend. Otherwise, we will talk